Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. Today we're at Red River Chevrolet to take a look at the 2024 Chevrolet Trax and see if it is better than ever. And what better way to do that than a head-to-head and side-by-side comparison with the previous generation, the first generation of the Trax, as we were only into the second generation here. But you can likely already see the tremendous differences in size. Maybe not tremendous, but there definitely is a difference. And what exactly are the differences in size between the two? The overall differences will be 11 inches in overall length. It's going to be 2 inches wider and 4 inches lower as far as the 2024 model goes. It's still considered a subcompact SUV, but you can definitely tell the difference in the overall lines and proportions between the first and second generations. Obviously, this 2024 is really meant to look a little bit more like the Chevrolet Blazer, the current generation of the Chevrolet Blazer. You'll see that on the outside and the inside as we work our way around. As we take a look from the front end, you can see the dramatic differences in overall width and height as far as these two models go. There's absolutely no similarities other than the fact that they're made by Chevrolet and they have 4 wheels and a few other things. But for the most part, you really can't tell that this 2024 version is a Trax. I think Chevrolet did a very good job in the design. And you can see the difference in the headlights as we have the LED daytime running lights, but obviously you do not have the LED headlights. As we move over here, we're going to have that a little more sleek look with the turn signal housing, and then the headlight position has changed. It really matches the Chevrolet Blazer as far as its location down here on the bumper. And you can even see both do have a little bit of chrome. Obviously, we don't have the same trim levels today, but you just have to work with what you have. It has been so hard for Red River Chevrolet to keep these 24 models in inventory. They're basically almost always sold when they come in. This is why I haven't done this before now. It's been hard to get my hands on one. But when you look at the differences in the grille, a much more narrow upper grille, a little bit larger on the lower portion down there, but we go the opposite direction here with the 2024 in that the upper grille is quite a bit larger. We do have that separation point with the Chevrolet bow tie and the chrome accent, the trim in between the kind of two different areas of the grille, and that lower grille obviously is not far from being about the same size as the upper grille on the first generation. You can see that the lines have increased, or the size I should say of the front end has increased. It's a little bit longer here. I'll give you a good view from this point. So it really gives it a more broad stance, a little bit more aggressive looking stance. It just looks more sporty this way. Maybe this will give you a better idea of the differences. It's longer, but it still has some nice character lines. We're still going to have a slope as we work our way towards the front of the hood, where on the previous generation, I believe this one is a 2021 that we're looking at, maybe a 22, but it doesn't matter because they were all looking the same anyway. But it really has more of a sloped front end. But you can also tell the difference in the fact that it's just a shorter wheelbase altogether. New design for the side view mirrors, as you can see. Again, we're going to kind of slender things down a little bit here. Body color on the mirror caps, and we'll turn around and take a look from this view. And we can also see that it's a little bit wider. Makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on behind you with the newer model. Body color on the door handles, and keep in mind, again, based on trim level here, there are going to be some differences. We do have passive entry right here, and we have the combination of chrome and body color on those door handles, but we have the body color only on the 24 model. And you can really see the difference, at least I can. I hope it shows up on the screen the same way, in the fact that the 24 model definitely sits lower, but that's a good thing because that's also going to mean better handling, a little more wheelbase, a little bit lower overall stance makes a difference. And when you look at the difference in the size of the rear windows, the window on the 24 model a little more sloped back, still pretty easy to see out of, and the rear roof spoiler definitely, in my opinion, looks better. You can tell the difference of the width back here, I think, better than you can on the front. And obviously, when you look at the design of the rear taillights, what other taillights would we have? Yes, taillights, not rear taillights, the only taillights. That's okay to laugh. You can laugh at me. You don't have to laugh with me on that one. But you can really tell the difference. Again, we're going to a little bit more of a look of what the Blazer has here. It's just kind of a smaller version of sorts, but a very clean look here on the rear as far as that goes. Now, one of the differences will obviously be found under the hood. Let's talk about exactly what those differences are. Here under the hood of the first generation was the 1.4 liter four-cylinder. It made 155 horsepower and 177 pounds-feet of torque, mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Under the hood of the 2024 version is the 1.2 liter three-cylinder. It is a turbocharged engine, 137 horsepower. The torque numbers come in at 162 pounds-feet, and it is also mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. But what does that do for MPGs? That is bound to help. Let's see what we have. 28 city, 32 highway, 30 combined. And Chevrolet says you should use 3.3 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. One other difference I do want to point out here, just in the interest of fair reporting, is the location of the button to open the rear door. You can see that it was on the lower portion of the door down here on the previous generation. Now on this 2024, it's above the license plate bracket. There is roughly a 12% increase in cargo capacity on the 2024 model. Here we're going to have 12.7 up to 48.4 cubic feet on the older version. But one thing I like here is that underneath the floor is going to be a spare tire, and you're going to find that in both models. So if you're wondering about that, I know that brings a lot of peace of mind to know that you don't just have a tire repair kit. That is always a good thing. With the all-new model, we're looking at 25.6 up to 54.1 cubic feet of cargo capacity. You're going to have the lighting back here, as you can see. Quite a bit of space, and I likely don't need to show this to you, but I'm going to anyway, just for the fun of it. We'll just show you that obviously you can lower the seats down, and they do lay basically flat for the most part, and have a little bit of an angle to them, but they're pretty much flat on against the seat cushion, to make it a little bit easier to take advantage of available cargo capacity. And obviously when you look from the side, the body lines have changed quite a bit. I know we looked at that earlier in the video, but I just wanted to give you a good look at the angles and the changes here. What about interior changes? Well, you can tell that the doors on the rear a little bit higher up, a little bit taller, obviously because of the differences in height of the vehicle, but it looks like the doors on the new model are a little bit larger, so it should make it easier to get in and out. We'll hop inside here into the earlier model and see what we have here. A fairly small area right here where you could actually put something. It is a door bin, basically. There's a bottle holder right there and a little bit of space right here. And as we hop inside, let's see how we do here. I'm kind of curious to see what the differences are. Let's see, headspace. At 5'10", well, there's what I have. And you don't have air conditioning vents, at least not on this LT trim level here in the rear seating area, but you can see that you have an interesting combination of the net material and the rear seat pocket. You also have the fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in. Not a very large armrest, but the advantage here is the placement of the cup holders. You could still, technically, your rear seat passengers could use that as an armrest, even when there's 2 cups in there or bottles or whatever the case may be. And looking in through the left side rear door, we can see that we have a little bit more space here with the door bin. So that actually has increased for 2024. And some changes here. This is the 1LS trim level, by the way, with the design of the seats. Both are going to be cloth in this case. I actually did review a higher trim level earlier in the year. I'll try to remember to link that video if you want to see it, but I couldn't go into as much detail as I can here because I didn't have the remote and all that kind of stuff. But you'll see one thing that is missing. There is no storage on the back of the rear seats. I don't know if that's going to bother rear seat passengers so much, but tell me what you think about that. And again, no connectivity and no air conditioning vents in this rear seating area. But remember, this is not the highest trim level. And I'll give you a quick look here at what we have as far as the interior on the earlier model, the earlier generation. and let you see, because this is where the biggest difference is, in my opinion. I mean, overall, everything is different, but I tell you what, I think Chevrolet hit a home run as far as the overall design here. Now, you do have the armrest right here that the driver has. That's helpful. If we go into reverse, here is what the rear view camera looks like, and overall, what everything looks like from this particular angle. Now let's hop over into the 24 and see what it looks like. And in proper order, we're going to have the 2023 here on the left and the 2024 here on the right. Now, one thing you're going to see that is going to be different here, remember the 1LS trim level. You're going to have a key instead of push button start. On the LT trim level for the 2023 and earlier models, you did not have to have a key to start the vehicle. You just used the push button start as long as the remote was in your possession. But good news is that even on the 1LS trim level, you're going to have remote start for 2024. And I'll give you a quick look at the interior here as far as what we have on the door panel. Nice large door bins here in the front, and again, the same combination on the interior color layout. Let's hop inside here. In fact, I need to remember to get the remote out so I can use that key. That reminds me of a switch comb from when I was a kid in the 1980s. My parents would never let me have one for some reason. I can't quite figure that out. Now, this might be an interesting experience for certain generations of people. How do you start a vehicle with a key? I guess they can't steal it either. But here is the biggest difference. We're going to see, again, looking similar to the Blazer as far as the design of the air conditioning vents. You can see some of the contrast with the blue as far as the colors are concerned, and the instrument cluster definitely looks better in my opinion. It's updated. Here's what the steering wheel looks like. And the main thing is going to be that infotainment screen. The fact that everything here is actually angled towards the driver, that makes a difference. And then you're going to have your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Everything is there. We'll do the same thing we did with the other model. We'll go into reverse. Basically the same setup, but keep in mind, it is based on trim level, and the only one I've been able to do is this 1LS so far. I promise we will review higher trim levels and hopefully get to do a little bit more as time goes on. But you can see the setup for the air conditioning controls right here. In fact, I am going to turn that on because, boy, I hope that doesn't mess things up with the air blowing with the audio, but it's getting a little warm in here. And there is your shifter. For those who don't like push-button shifters and you're wondering, well, is it going to have a push-button shifter for 24? Thankfully not. I really like this more, the conventional style shifter that just fits right in your hand. A very simple setup to use and learn. And here's what we have as far as the center console goes. There is the lid, a good bit of space down in there. But overall, I really think Chevrolet has done a great job here. They have most certainly had a hard time keeping these models on the lot. Again, that's why it's taken me so long to do one besides the one I did at the Chicago Auto Show. That was way back in February. Seems like that was just about forever ago. But tell me what you think. I would be surprised if anybody says they like the previous generation, the first generation of the Trax, over this new and what I believe is much improved second generation. But you just never know. Tell me what your thoughts are. Which one do you like most and why? And if you plan to buy a 2024 Trax, tell me what trim level, how you're going to spec it out, all that good stuff. I'm always curious to know. I want to say a special thanks to Grace here at Red River Chevrolet as she sold this model that's on my right, the 24 model, but was kind enough to let me have it to make this video. Unfortunately, since it's pre-sold, that means no test drive today, and I apologize for that. I'm still looking forward to test driving one of these new models to see how it compares to the former. I've driven several of those. I believe the new one is going to drive and handle a lot better. Very curious to know. Thanks for taking the time to watch today, guys. As always, I enjoy the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.